Hello students, welcome to the today's session. Today we will be discussing on very important and interesting model of an atom. In our previous discussion, we studied about the wonderful model given by Ernest Rutherford. The only problem was he could not explain properly electronic area around the nucleus. So today how Bohr will rectify that drawback from the Rutherford so that he will carry forward the structure of atom or the model of an atom. So today we will start Niels Bohr's atomic model. A clever person solves a problem. A wise person avoids it. Means a clever person solves a problem. Means what? That means he will face the problem, but he will solve this. But a wise person avoids it, means he will not allow problem to approach him. He will make such an effort so that problem will not come at all. Then no need to solve when there is no problem. So wise person is far better than a clever person. So we have to be wise. I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious. That means there are many students, they don't have talents, but if they are curious, then they can go for achieving something different. So these two qualities were there with Niels Bohr, and he was the man who had challenged Albert Einstein on some science ground. There was a hot discussion. It was a healthy discussion between, not between, on the point of Albert Einstein. So then imagine how wise Niels Bohr was. So with these two captions, we will start Bohr's atomic model. Niels Bohr from Denmark. So he is called as a Danish scientist. Bohr's model. First we discuss postulates. Postulate number 1. Atom has a center called nucleus. This is in full agreement with the Rutherford's model. So he is the one who has said that at the center nucleus is there. So that point he has taken from his model. There is no change here. Postulate number 2. Electron revolves only in fixed circular orbits with fixed energy and fixed velocity. See, I have underlined the word fixed. That means Bohr said electrons revolve in a certain circular orbits, definite path. What Rutherford said around the nucleus, electrons can take around anywhere. He has not said that here only electrons revolve, either here or here or here or here. So that was Rutherford's theory. But in Bohr's, he is fixing in this path only electrons revolves with this much energy and with this much velocity. That is the speciality of what? Niels Bohr. So fixing the path, and the orbit word is coined here. Orbit is what? Orbit is a definite path of an electron. Third postulate is electrons revolve only in those circular orbits for which the angular momentum is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. H is here Planck's constant, we study afterwards. So what is angular momentum? Angular momentum is momentum because of the certain angles around the nucleus. That is called angular momentum. Especially it is applicable for electron which is taking place around the nucleus. So this angular momentum is also called as orbit angular momentum, symbolically L. What Bohr said? Electrons revolve only in those circular orbits for which the angular momentum is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. That means angular momentum of an electron is quantized. So this is a word coined by Niels Bohr. What is quantized? Quantized means available in a fixed amount. This much only available, or he is putting some restriction. The restriction of any property, whether it is energy property, whether it is velocity property, so he is putting some restriction. So the restriction of any property to discrete values is known as quantization or quantized. This is called Bohr's quantization. So his condition. Therefore, according to the statement, angular momentum is quantized. This much only. How much? It is the integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. So what is n here? N is an integer. That means electron will be either in the 1h upon 2 pi or 2h upon 2 pi or 3h upon 2 pi or 10h upon 2 pi and so on. Electron will never be in 3 by 2 h upon 2 pi or 1 by 2 h upon 2 pi or 4 by 3 h upon 2 pi. No. Here you see. What is n here? N is an integer. It takes the value from 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. For this he has told n is nothing but fixed circular orbit number, or it is called shell number. If n equal to 1, it is called first shell or K shell. He has given the name also. For that shell, what is the angular momentum? Angular momentum of this shell is what? H upon 2 pi only. So if electron wants to revolve here, its angular momentum is h upon 2 pi only. If one more electron or some other electron wants to take this area, it has to be in the 2h upon 2 pi only, not in between. In between, angular momentum is not allowed. It is like a ladder. If you put one step in the one foot on your first step, if you want to put your leg on the second step, second step only, in between is a gap is there, no, like that. It is like a ladder. First step, second step, third step. Or if you pass 7th class, you have to go to 8th class only. You can't go directly 10th class. Or if you by chance, due to some reason, due to on the medical ground, if you want to stay back in the previous class, you have to go to 6th class only. You will not go to 5th or 4th or 3rd, like that. So angular momentum of an electron is quantized. So in this only electron revolves, not in between. So this is a clear-cut difference between Rutherford and Niels Bohr. Rutherford said anywhere around the nucleus. That's why he was not in a position to explain electronic stability so that electron will enter the nucleus. But here no need to enter. Why? Afterwards I will tell. Please wait for the next postulate. So let us understand angular momentum of an electron is quantized. This much amount only. Why he has started from the first cell K only? Because K means kernel, the inner portion of a seed. That means this is K shell, inner portion. To protect the inner portion, this is the cover, kernel. So just he has thought that kernel K. So when he has taken the K, so naturally he has started with the L, M and so on. So there is no hard and fast rule that he should have started from A, B, C, D. So just he has thought kernel K. So I can proceed like that. Now a small brief idea from the physics. This is the electron revolves with velocity v, mass m in this direction. Okay, same velocity with a mass, right? And here it is taking some angle which is equal to 90 degree theta, right? So what is L equal to? L equal to R into P. What is P here? P is the momentum in the physics. Please refer the physics notes. So what is momentum? Momentum equal to m into v. All these P, R, V, they are all vector quantities. So please discuss in the physics difference between vector quantities and the scalar quantities. So L equal to R m v. Now it is taking certain angle here. So I have taken 90 here. So R equal to mv into sine theta. Sine theta is how much? 90 here. So according to mathematics, sine 90 equal to 1. That means ultimately where we ended? We end up L equal to mvr. So angular momentum of an electron equal to mvr. what we studied just now in the previous discussion, in this today's discussion, angular momentum of an electron is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. So mvr equal to integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. This is, let us call it as equation number 1. Now here, when electron revolves around the nucleus, see as condition. While revolving, the electrostatic force between electron and nucleus provides centripetal force. This I told when you tie a thread to stone to a thread. Okay. So attraction force as well as the centripetal force acting outward, but both are balanced here. But I have taken from physics what is Fe, electrostatic force of attraction, and what is Fc, centripetal force, directly from physics. But here it is both are equal, that's why electron is intact. So Fe equal to Fc. So these two becomes equal. These two becomes equal. So what is Q1 here? Q1, Q2 are the two charges. What is Q1? Charge of an electron, E. What is Q2? Charge of the nucleus, Ze. Why Ze? Here is the how many protons are there in the nucleus? That is equal to Z. That is nothing but atomic number. Each proton contributes one positive charge. So total charge in the nucleus equal to how many protons have that much charge plus Ze. So this is the nuclear charge. That is the charge of the nucleus. So nucleus charge into atomic charge by R square. This is strictly in accordance to the Coulombic force of attraction. So this I have taken directly from physics. 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square equal to mu square upon R. So after simplification, this is this one. Let us call it as equation number 1. Now postulate number 5. While revolving in a particular orbit, an electron neither gains energy nor loses energy. Here he has taken care of Rutherford's spiral going into the nucleus, not allowed, plus James Maxwell's, what he said, it will radiate. So that also he has taken care. We will go to the next postulate, you will understand. So whenever electron is revolving around the nucleus, it neither gains nor loses, it will be there only without losing energy or not gaining energy. That's why those paths, those levels are called what? Stationary, immovable, at rest. That means electrons are not given that much independence here. What is station here? Bus station. Okay, police station where buses are parked, not allowed to move. So that's why it's called energy levels are stationary. Cells are called stationary. So before proceeding on to the next postulate, so we'll go for some calculations. Radius calculation, all these calculations. Equation number 1, equation number 2, please refer. So square the equation number 1 and equation number 1 squared divided by equation number 2. You simplify, you will get this answer. Rn equal to h square epsilon naught by pi m e square equal into n square upon z here. Here h is Planck's constant, epsilon naught is constant, pi constant, mass of electron constant, this is constant. So entire term is constant here. So put the values of all the constant by taking the help of physics. So after simplification, you will get Rn equal to 0.53 n square upon z. So in the book it is given 0.529. I have rounded up to 0.53 in angstrom unit. This is the equation for the radius. For hydrogen, how much? For hydrogen, Rn equal to 0.53 n square by z, z equal to 1. So this much only. So this is for hydrogen. So I have taken the angstrom unit. If you convert it to a picometer, it is Rn equal to 53.0 n square picometers, because 1 angstrom unit equal to 100 picometers. So today we learnt some postulates of the Bohr and some equations. In tomorrow's class, we will learn some more derivations and will complete the Bohr's theory. Thank you boys and thank you students.